We are less than 24 hours from Pokemon Day, which means brand new Pokemon reveals and the direction of the next main series Pokemon game. It is about to go down. The Riddler has made another post, and we've got a ton of stuff to break down in this video on what you can expect for Pokemon Day 2024. Let's get it. All right, so kicking this one off, Riddler Coup makes a post this morning of Hilbert and N saying Pokemon Masters EX, these two characters standing next to each other. This could very well likely be a hint towards Black and White remakes or some sort of remake going on in the Unova region. And that is what we've been expecting for quite a while. But I think that this post further kind of solidifies that as a very high likelihood chance. I do want to mention there was a leak of Pokemon Masters content. It was data mined from the presents. It does seem as though Silver and Gita are going to be new sync pairs in Pokemon Masters. And this video is going to talk a little bit about different parts of the Pokemon franchise and what we could expect from those different parts in terms of new content and new updates and things like that. But I do find it very interesting that the post from Riddler Coup is indeed Hilbert, the main protagonist, the male protagonist from the Unova region, and of course N, one of the key characters in that region. So it does seem as though this is going to be going on. Now Pyoro here says, I don't know anything about the Pokemon Presents. While I heard of an outsourced Unova related game, the info was from last year, so it may turn out to be inaccurate. And Pyoro here is apparently some sort of an insider that has some different insight into the franchise and other franchises. So they're indicating that they had heard kind of whispers through the grapevine that there was going to be a Unova related game, but it was outsourced. And if you guys remember, this is exactly what took place during the BDSP era, where Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was outsourced by ILCA, the same company that does Pokemon Home. And then they ended up doing their Legends Arceus game in-house and did a double whammy. They released two games at the same time, essentially. That would be really, really epic in my opinion. However, it obviously, I think a lot of people agree on this take that Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was very disappointing in the grand scheme of things because it was basically a one-for-one copy. So much so that they even copied trainers over and stuff. It didn't even have the enhancements from Platinum, basically. And then to take it a step further, Kelios, who is known to be a bit of an insider in the space, makes a post this morning, experience the brilliance once more, and this is kind of a little teaser to the fact that, you know, it was kind of a direct port of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. They then went on to say then it's a joke. I have no idea what it's going to be. Whether that's true or not, whether they're teasing, I do not know. But ultimately, a lot of signs are indeed pointing towards this idea that we're going to get some sort of a Black and White remake. I really hope it's not this faithful remake where it's a direct one-to-one copy. That would be kind of disappointing if we're being honest here. I would like to see them kind of enhance on that idea, either with a Black and White 3 or with something in that regard. We talked a little bit about that yesterday in our video there. So a couple different paths they can take. Ultimately, like I said, I want to see the Legends game the most, right? Like, if there's any opportunity for us to get in the Legends game, that is what I want to see the most. So let's talk about what Pokemon Day could look like here, because there's going to be a bunch of different announcements. It's not just going to be about the main series. So the first thing we're going to see is that the Pokemon World Championships are going to be located in Hawaii this year. We do know that. They're probably going to talk a lot about the different VGC, TCG, Go, Unite Championships, all these different games, some of the characters they might be releasing in those games. I do think there's going to be a highlight of the Pokemon Horizon series. A handful of content creators like Austin John Plays here got this really cool care package from Pokemon highlighting Pokemon Horizons. So I do anticipate that they're going to have kind of a focus on that and some of these different content spin-offs that they've been doing. We've seen Pokemon doing a lot of collaborations lately with different companies. I can tell you I got a few emails for sponsorships from random companies like doing gold chains with Pokemon on them. And we obviously saw they just did that like high-end brand collaboration where they were selling that Dragonite jacket or whatever, or plushie for like crazy money. And then they did the 100 Thieves one where it's a little wild, some of these collabs they're doing. It seems like they're going all in on these different collaborations. So expect to see some of that stuff going on as well. Maybe some different announcements there. Pokemon Go, obviously going to get some sort of updates. They've got a bunch of different spin-off games like Pokemon Cafe Remix, Pokemon Masters, could be new sync pairs as we mentioned earlier with Gita. Pokemon Sleep is another one that we could see some kind of highlights on. Mystery Dungeon is a big one that we could see some focus on. Their last release was in 2020, and normally they were launching a game every 3 years, so there's a decent chance that there could be a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game announced tomorrow. For sure. We may see some more enhancements to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We never quite got those performance enhancements that we were promised, but ultimately we have those DLCs out now, and they could obviously have new raid den announcements and something that'll kind of encourage people to play the game there. But the real thing that we are all looking forward to is, what is this main series game announcement going to be? That is the big question here. There's a few paths that they can take, a few different things that they can do. We obviously talk about the Unova region, Gen 5. There's some tie-ins there with the Blueberry Academy at the end of Scarlet and Violet, obviously tied into some of the characters from the Unova region. It's kind of sequential in the sense that we did our Gen 4 remakes. Now it would make sense for them to do Generation 5 remakes. So a lot of signs are pointing towards that. But I do think if they, really want to capture on the success they had with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, the opportunity for them to go down the path of another Let's Go style game to revisit Johto is something that they can most certainly do. I think if they do that, they probably piggyback the two together. The more and more I think about it, the more I think that there's a realistic possibility of us getting the double games again, where they release a game towards the end of the year sometime in November, and then they release another game in January like they did with Legends Arceus and BDSP. That to me makes the most sense. Revisit Unova as a faithful remake, and then revisit Unova as kind of a look to the past as they did before. There's a lot of really cool stories they can explore with KIERAN and some of the, kind of the original Dragon and Reshiram and Zekrom, and a lot of pieces there that I think they could explore, especially now that we've got a little bit more insight into, kind of what Pokemon was in the past with Arceus. And also just some of these characters that have kind of, revisited themes, Indigo being one in particular in Legends Arceus that kind of, resurfaced there. Some other potential ideas, we could see a new Pokemon Snap, which would be pretty sweet. Pokemon Ranger games, Pokemon Rumble. We may see some Pokemon Classics returning to the Switch Online. It's probably going to be the last time we see this opportunity because the Nintendo Switch lifecycle does seem to be coming kind of to a close here with the potential Nintendo Switch 2 looming. So these may be the final titles on this. So there could be, obviously remasters or kind of ports of the various Pokemon games that could happen. So ultimately, I think if I had to summarize what I'm expecting for Pokemon Day here, I think there's got to be something with Unova. I think we're most certainly getting a game that features the Unova region, whether it's in the future or whether it's in the past. I think both of those opportunities are very much likely to be explored. There's going to be an emphasis on their different spin-off games, and there may even be a completely new spin-off game, right? They shocked everyone when they announced Pokemon Unite, this MOBA style game. They could do a handful of different things there with that. There's going to be a focus on pretty much all the branches of this massive company, right? From the TCG to Pokemon Go to Unite to Masters to all of their different, kind of IPs that have branched off the franchise over the years. But I think the big focus here is Pokemon Unova. Whatever that ends up being, I think that's what we're going to see tomorrow. I hope it's Legends style though, man. I really, really hope that. And I hope that if they did indeed outsource the game to another company to make a remake of, Black and White or Black and White 2, that they do it in a way that's tasteful and not just a copy and paste. Because I'll be real, man, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was a pretty big fail if you ask me. I would love to see something kind of more fruitful than that, something with a little bit more love and passion in it. But we'll wait and see. I'd be very surprised if Ilka got another chance at this, but we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. I will be streaming the Pokemon Presents at twitch.tv/adrive. I hope you'll tune in there. Exciting time for Pokemon fans. Let's see what's next for the franchise. Will we be disappointed, or are they going to blow us away? I'll see you tomorrow to find out.